I'll bet you haven't heard these shocking truths, but all rookie wrestlers deserve to hear them. So the kid gloves are coming off next until we make it. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are passionate about pro wrestling and you're never done learning all about it, then you have landed in the exact right place. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe right now. In today's video, I want to share with you some shocking truths that I think rookie wrestlers aren't hearing early enough in their journeys. And I've learned something from looking at my Google Analytics. The vast majority of you who watch these videos consistently are between the ages of 16 and 24, which tells me you are, quite potentially, at a point in your life where you're making the decision to transition from being a fan into being a working pro. Or possibly you've recently begun training for your career in professional wrestling. Some of you may even be in your apprentice phase already, doing some of your earliest matches in the ring. And if you're familiar with my story, then you know in the early part of my career, I had no coach to teach me, nor did I have a mentor to guide me. And that means there were some essential bits of information I didn't receive until years into my career. But I needed them a bit earlier than that. And that's why I'm making this video for you today. It is not to frighten you or ward you off in any way, shape, or form. Quite the opposite. I want you to be prepared for what's lying ahead. The first unfortunate truth we have to cover is this one. You will put on your very best work and fans will hate it. Why? Because wrestling is subjective. Not all people like the same things. And you will perform a match that you are proud of, that you think represents the pinnacle of your in-ring work, and there will be at least one fan who absolutely hates it. Because it's subjective. The things that I like, you may not. The things that you like, they may not. Here's a perfect example. I think the best tag team match from the last 10 years is American Alpha versus The Revival from NXT TakeOver in Dallas. It's fantastic. And you could make the argument that there have been higher profile tag matches that succeed at roughly the same level, etc., etc., etc. You're not going to change my mind. That's the pinnacle to me. I can go back and rewatch that match infinitely and never tire of it. And I constantly find new things which I think make it even more brilliant every time I go back and watch it. And yet, there are people out there who absolutely hate that match. Because wrestling is subjective. We won't all like the same things. And that means inevitably you're going to make something you are really proud of, and someone out there is going to despise it. A second shocking truth I want to advise you of is this one. Getting completely honest feedback about your matches is almost impossible. Why? Because nobody wants to play the bad guy, especially in the current era of pro wrestling, the social media era, where everybody has a platform with which to disseminate whatever opinion flies into their head. They all feel the freedom to broadcast this to anyone that wants to listen. And so nobody wants to even take the chance of being the bad guy in somebody else's story. And the result of this is it's almost impossible to get entirely honest feedback. If you just went out there and really stunk it up in the ring, everyone is going to try and sugarcoat that for you rather than give you the honest feedback you need to hear. And if you want to circumvent that hurdle, my advice to you would be this. You need to tell the person you are soliciting that feedback from to be brutally honest. Don't spare my feelings. Give it to me the actual way it was. And then you have to honor and respect that feedback, even if it is not what you want to hear. And even so, it may not come out 100% truthful, because nobody wants to be the bad guy. Before I dive into number 3 on my list, I need to ask for your help. In order to keep Till We Make It a weekly channel here on YouTube, I need to reach 100 patrons on my Patreon by the end of this year. And I won't accomplish that goal without you. So please jump on the link that's down below in the descriptus. Take a look at the various tiers of support. And if you are in a position to help support the work I'm doing here with Till We Make It, join our community. The moment that you do, you will begin to unlock over 675 exclusive posts overflowing with wrestling experience and insight. And we would love to have you. Thanks. Number 3, when it comes to shocking truths, is this one. That thing you think you just invented in the ring, somebody else has already done it. Pro wrestling has been around for almost 160 years. At this point, pretty much everything has already been done. And there won't be evidence of all of this out there. There's so much wrestling that's been made that was never recorded. But chances are that new way of getting into a snapmare you just came up with at training, somebody somewhere has done this before. And there's an example that's top of mind for me that I will share with you without naming names. But there's a currently working pro who was only born in 1993 who would swear up and down there's a particular takedown he came up with. And not 2 weeks ago, I saw footage of an Argentine wrestler from 1974 doing the exact same thing, almost 20 years before this dude was born. The reality is, there's very little left to invent, and chances are the thing you think you've invented, somebody probably already did it. Number 4 really hits home with me, and I know it hits home with one of my current trainees as well who's going through this. People in wrestling who you have never met or interacted with will not like you. And they will claim they have heat with you, and you will never know why. You may never get to the bottom of this. It may never be possible to contact them, ask what's going on, discover what this imagined beef is, and squash it. Because wrestling attracts all different personality types. And apparently, not all personality types get along, or so I'm told. People have different opinions and worldviews and perspectives on things. And there is something about wrestling which often gives permission for people to act a little more immaturely. I have been guilty of this myself. But I want you to know it's entirely possible people that you never meet, never do business with, never interact with whatsoever, will openly claim that they don't like you, or even worse, that the two of you have heat, despite the fact you've never even met. And this one is the most powerful one of them all. It's also the one I wish I had heard on day 1. Your wrestling ability matters infinitely less than your look and your connections. The person in your training class right now who has the right look will be given every opportunity long before they can even wrestle. And that person who you're training alongside right now, who happens to be connected to all the people in power, will have doors open for them that remain shut to everyone else. Having the right look or the right professional network in wrestling matters infinitely more than your ability to wrestle. Click on the video that's appearing on screen right now and you'll jump into my playlist that's all about mental health in wrestling and vitality. It includes videos that cover things like career stagnation and battling pro wrestling burnout. Also appearing on screen is a link directly to my Patreon. Won't you please help me reach my goal of 100 patrons this year? Thanks.